Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining today's coffee break. All right, so we're at 1 minute past the hour now, so let's kick off. So thank you, everybody, for joining today's SCOM-a-thon coffee break. Today, we're going to look at the Linux agent. So originally, this session was going to be just on Linux agent failed upgrades, which is in itself an interesting and worthy topic. But when Ali and I were sort of discussing the potential of doing this as a topic, we sort of realized we haven't actually done any Linux content as SCOM-a-thon, which is a terrible shame. So we're going to broaden this ever so slightly, if you'll allow us, and focus a little bit more holistically on the Linux agent. And then we'll go on to failed upgrades. So if you could click on for me, Ali, let's get started. So we obviously have a panel of two today. You can see who we are already. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Bruce Cullen. I'm Director of Products here at Squared Up. And with me, I have Ali. Ali, you're a consultant for TopCore. Thank you for joining me today.
You're welcome.
Basically, at this point, thank you very much for coming. And I'm going to basically hand over to you at this point. Let's take us through what we're going to be hearing and learning about today. This is news and learning. This is learning for me as well.
Thank you very much, Bruce. Hello and welcome, everyone. Hello, Bruce. Thanks for the invite. Although I have been working with SCOM more than 10 years now, it's my first webinar, and I believe most of you don't know much about me. I'm Ali Burak Genç from Istanbul, Turkey. I work for TopCore as a senior consultant. I have more than 20 years of experience in different sectors like retail, broadcasting, and financial services. Now I'm trying to help our customers and community while they are using SCOM and the cloud services. Well, this is what I do for a living, but to reset my health state, I take photographs as an amateur, just like most of the people does. I started with landscape photography, but as I'm interested in astronomy since my childhood, I'm trying to take photos of the sky, moon, meteor showers as well. And
very cool.
Since the requirements are very similar, lately I have started taking aviation photos and hope to become a spotter in the future, maybe after the retirement.
Okay,
well,
I knew some of that, but I didn't know the last few bits and pieces. Just to add to that ever so slightly, so Ali, you first came on my radar at the very first SCOM-a-thon back in 2020, where I think we first met, and you started blogging on SCOM, and you published a blog on this very topic, which is why we're here today. So very, very much looking forward to getting into the meat of it.
Exactly. I started blogging on SCOM when I started working with TopCore, with Bob and my other colleagues. And so that's the reason why I'm invited here. So let's get to the subject and the agenda. Although the subject is announced as failed updates, as Bruce has stated, we thought that it would be good to touch Unix and Linux monitoring in general, which was not talked about previously in the coffee break sessions, as far as I know. We'll start touching on the Unix and Linux monitoring in SCOM. What Linux and Unix monitoring in SCOM is. What are the differences between Windows and Unix and Linux monitoring, and talk about some failure scenarios as well, which I believe is crucial because they differ from the Windows part. Then we will mention the agent, the installation, upgrade, and possible issues where I will talk about some general ones and a few I have encountered during my experience. Lastly, we will talk about the source file, which is why I'm invited here, and finish it for today with some questions and answers if there are any. So let's start. Unix and Linux monitoring has been available in SCOM since SCOM 2007 R2. Well, I was not using SCOM back then, and I have no idea what it looked like, but I have been managing SCOM environments with Unix and Linux in it for more than 10 years now. Well, most of this time has been on SCOM 2012, which was a bit different in terms of agent and management because of the changes related to Linux monitoring released with SCOM 2016. Well, with SCOM 2016, some major changes have arrived. Asynchronous usage of Windows management infrastructure was introduced, and this led the scalability of the SCOM system to be doubled. With the same resources, a single management server could monitor up to 2 times the number of Unix and Linux servers. With SCOM 2016, OMI server was introduced instead of the old SCX CIM provider, which changed the way how the agent is installed and functioned. Before SCOM 2016, there were only options to have single-line command-based monitors and rules, where you had to create a script and call it when you want to have complex controls. But from that version on, it became possible to put a whole script, whole SH scripts inside the monitor or rule configuration, as we did with the Windows script-based monitors and rules. With SCOM 2019, Kerberos authentication support has been added to add more security levels on top of the existing ones. But this would only involve the communication in monitoring activities, not the maintenance ones, which we'll talk in a bit later. Prior to SCOM 2019, distros had separate management packs leading an overhead in management. I mean, Red Hat 7 had, or any distros had different management packs, which you had to import every time you had an update. But beginning SCOM 2019, update rollup 1, Linux management packs are made simpler and both distro and version agnostic. So this was a small recap of what Unix and Linux monitoring has gone through over the years. Of course, there are more details that we can touch on, but that will just cause going far beyond our coffee time and may become a subject of a training. Now we can take a small look into Windows and Unix Linux monitoring in SCOM to understand its differences and limits. The main difference is the agents, for sure, which is the cause of the limits mentioned in the slide. Since every Windows agent is a full agent that can run workflows on itself and send the results to the management server, the boundaries are much higher than the Linux part. The Linux agent is the light one that passes requests to the operating system and returns the responses back. This means that all of the workflows run on management servers, requests are submitted, and responses are received. The other difference is the management of the agents. Since Windows agents run independently, in case of a failure, they have an option to send it to a failover server if it is set in their configuration. This is important because if there's no failover configuration is done, it may be hard for the agent to find the correspondent management server. When it comes to Linux parts, a resource pool is created and used to manage the agents and monitoring. In case of a failure of one of the pool members, the resource pool mechanism is used to transfer the workflows to the next available resource pool member if there are enough members to meet the 50% requirement, which we will talk in the next slide. Although the number of agents per management server is almost 1/3 compared to Windows, which I mean 3,000 to 1,000, keep in mind that this was half of it prior to SCOM 2016, meaning only 500. Currently, we can manage pretty much agents in a medium-sized environment group, medium-sized management group. I used to manage more than 5,500 Linux servers, and it ran almost smoothly if SCOM was maintained properly. So when it comes to using gateway servers instead of management servers, the numbers drop dramatically due to its available resources and, of course, binaries installed, which we should be careful of and consider while making designs. One of the first requirements of Linux monitoring is creating a resource pool. And when you create a resource pool, you start considering the members, availability, and the failures. Since this is a common issue faced in SCOM monitoring, SCOM monitoring Linux environments, it would be good to show and explain to understand it better. When a failure occurs in one of the members of the resource pool, the workflows and the objects are transferred to the next available resource pool member if the resource pool availability is higher than 50, as we said previously. This means that you should carefully consider the number of members within the resource pool and the resources on each management server. Usually, a resource pool is formed with 2 management servers. Besides these 2, there's a default observer, which means member of pool is 3 as shown on the slide. In case of a failure of one of the servers, since available members will be greater than 50%, resource pool will continue performing as expected, but keep in mind that this percentage is not the only important point. Resources on the remaining members will be important well because they will need to take care of more agents and workflows transferred from the failed one. This possibility should be considered during the design phase, and an eye should be kept on this if the environment is growing, because you might start simple and small, but as you grow, you will most likely need to increase your resources or even the number of pool members if you don't want to have failures during your operations. Please note that resource pool high availability changes if gateways are used instead of management servers, because the absence of this default observer, which is the operations manager database. So this is basically what the resource pool and the monitoring failover scenario is when you are dealing with Linux monitoring, which is really important because if it's not considered carefully and monitored carefully, the failures might turn into a full failure. A management server failure might fail into a full failure, and you can lose the communication between the Linux agents, all of the Linux agents, and the management group as well. So now let's have a look at the agent side. To better troubleshoot the issues, it might be useful to first look inside how SCOM communicates with the Linux servers. This architecture shown in the slide is valid since 2016, when Microsoft started using OMI server. As you can see, both SSH and HTTPS over port 1270 are needed. SSH is used for agent maintenance actions, and port 1270 or 1270 is used for monitoring the traffic. When working with agents on Linux side, you might sometimes recognize port 1270 is not listening. Note that you only see a server listening on 1270 if the agent is successfully started, meaning it has a connectivity with the SCOM and it's being managed. That might be an indication of other issues if you are having such a problem. So this is how the agent communicates and what ports are used. Basically, we have only 2 ports that should be open when you are monitoring SCOM on the firewall side. Only SSH and 1270. This is the easiest part of managing Linux and Unix servers in SCOM. Now we are moving one step further and looking into the agent installation process. This is a flowchart I took from an old presentation of my colleague Bob Cornelissen, which I have seen him saying hi. Thanks for the picture, Bob. As you can see, the installation process starts with the name resolution. After resolving the name, there is a check for an agent on the server. If not found, if there's no agent, it goes for an execution of getOS version.sh script, where it gets all of the information needed for the decision to continue for an installation or not. This is a script where you are supposed to get an output similar to the one shown in the small picture with some XML code. It includes basic information about the server and operating system for SCOM to check if it has an applicable package for that operating system. If the answer is yes, it proceeds with the uploading the agent installer file, installing the agent, creating and cross-signing the certificate, and finally start managing it. These are the steps when you do everything using SCOM console. Some environments might opt for putting agents in image files and add servers afterwards, or they can do some of the steps using some automation processes. As you can see, whether you install the agent manually or not, you have to use the Discovery Wizard to successfully start managing the Linux agent in SCOM. There are two manual installation items I have put. One includes the installation being done manually and the certificate being signed manually as well. The other is installing the agent manually, but doing the rest of the process with Discovery Wizard. Either way can be chosen according to the requirements or the policies of the company, because I know that Linux admins mostly have different teams and they have different ways to do things, and you will just find a common way how to proceed when you start using SCOM in Linux environment. So when it comes to upgrade, again, the easiest way is to use the SCOM console. In the administration pane, Unix Linux computers, you can see the distributions, operating system, and the agent versions. When you right-click on any of the servers, you will find the option to upgrade. Any upgradable version for that agent can be checked when you click on the upgrade. Also, you can find all available packages within the downloaded kits folder under SCOM installation path. The last part of the upgrade is to select the user that will perform the upgrade. If you have previously configured Unix maintenance account and have given the rights accordingly, which we will mention in the coming slides, the upgrade process should end successfully. You can also provide a different user who has sufficient privileges to perform this action on the screen. Manual upgrade can be used in large environments by Unix Linux admins as well. When you uninstall a package from a Linux server using RPM, which can be seen in the last part of the slide, it doesn't delete or doesn't seem to delete the certificates, and for sure it does not delete the server object in SCOM. As soon as you install the new version, since the certificate still exists, the agent starts working and the agent becomes upgraded. This is what I have tried in our demo environment and was a bit surprised to see it working, but after trying a few times, I have concluded that this could also work. I mean, the 3 commands and the last one is installation command works if you want to upgrade one of the agents. Well, this is a manual process, but it can be chosen with companies as well. So we have seen the story, the management group part, the agent, installation, and upgrade. Now we can just get into a bit details of any issues that can be seen, that can be. It was just a little information on how agent installation and upgrade works. Well, it doesn't mean that things should always go so smoothly, and some problems may occur during installation or upgrades. Since Linux agents do not have auto-enrolled certificates, they must be created and signed by one of the resource pool members. Most of the problems regarding to this issue is caused by connection or privilege issues. As we have mentioned previously, all agent maintenance related actions need an SSH connection and root privilege to be completed successfully. Any recent added firewall rule blocking this traffic or permission changes can lead failures on upgrades or new installations during certificate signing phase. Hostname is an important parameter in Linux monitoring in SCOM, as it is the primary key for the base Unix computer class. All resolved and attached hostnames should match either in DNS, both forward and reverse. But I think reverse requirement has been dropped after SCOM 2016. Host file or certificate. Especially the common name issue in a certificate is a problem that can be seen frequently. It can be previously created, or some changes might have taken place at some point. So we have a handy tool called SEX SSL config, which is a great tool to overcome such problems. You can just list, add, delete, and several make configuration changes using this tool on the certificates. The self-signed certificate created by the Linux agent is the same name as when you run the hostname command on the machine. So you should always check if the hostname is the same as the one within the signed certificate. The other most common issues are caused by the sudoers files, which was actually the reason for this coffee break. These files are used in environments where you are requested to use low-privileged users. But there are agent maintenance tasks like installing, uninstalling, or operating the agent, which requires privileged access to the system. Of course, one option is to have a root permission for your maintenance account at the very beginning while configuring the monitoring, but I believe that most of the admins responsible for those servers would object to this. The simplest way is to use sudoers files, where you give the root permission to your low-privileged users for those actions when it is needed and retained back as soon as you finish the command. You'll see that in the detail in coming slides. The last two items depend on my previous experiences. As I have shown previously, install and upgrade process mostly depend on the output of the getOS version.sh script. At this point, SCOM makes an SSH connection to the target server, uploads, and runs the script to get the information of what version of Linux and Unix machine is running on. With the information taken, it checks if there's a package it can deploy and start monitoring. I have seen some cases where the script was not giving a correct or expected output, and SCOM was unable to decide which way to go. This is not very common, but it can happen sometimes. I have seen it occurring if there are incomplete package installations or removals regarding to the SCOM agent. The last one is an interesting one. To tell the truth, I'm not a Linux guy, but I have learned the hard way that there's a PAM, which is pluggable authentication module mechanism in Linux servers, where admins configure methods to authenticate users. If you are running a third-party applications like Centrify, they inject their codes to those files to guarantee their methods and binaries are used. During my previous job, just after upgrading the environment and the agents to SCOM 2019, we started getting some reports related to the OMI server process taking too much memory, which looked like a memory leak starting from kilobytes and reaching out to gigabytes. Actually, we could also see SCOM creating alarms as well and complaining about low free available space in swap file. When you are managing hundreds of servers and start getting emails regarding a memory issue, you have to act quickly and find a solution, or if not, a workaround. Well, it was a workaround I found within SCOM as well. Instead of waiting for the process to wipe out all of the swap file, I started monitoring the memory usage of an OMI server and created a task to restart the agent as soon as it reaches 500 megabytes, which seemed to happen only twice a week at the most. That was acceptable and gave us enough time to analyze the issue with Microsoft. After several logs, debugs, and days, finally we found out that Centrify agent was the cause, which was injected into PAM modules I have mentioned above. The first workaround by Centrify was to set a parameter in a config file, and lately it was announced that issue was solved by version 6.01. So this final issue taught us that issues are not always caused by the agent itself. There might be some third-party reasons related to it as well. Now, finally, we can take a look at our famous sudoers file. This file is used when you are a regular user or you want to use a regular user for SCOM to monitor, but you want to have root rights to run maintenance tests, or if we speak generally, to run any command that needs root permissions. Microsoft has created some templates, and we have them in their websites in parts to make us understand it easily. As you can see, there are two users at top mentioned, SCOM user and SCOM admin, which you have to change according to your environment, and a few parts like general, certificate signing, install, upgrade, or uninstall, and finally log file monitoring. As you can see, certificate signing and uninstall sections have static commands that do not change from version to version and hardly cause any trouble. But the install and upgrade section is built on regex expressions to reflect changing versions and package types like D for Debian and R for RPM. This is the part where you might encounter the problem when updating your versions. It's possible that you or your Linux team might have distributed sudoers file from previous versions or templates provided by Microsoft. This is something we have experienced previously. Myself, and one occasion my colleague Martin has also experienced this. An old template not reflecting the current file formats means that any upgrade command you want to run does not fall within one of these lines and cannot get the needed permissions to complete the tests, meaning it cannot run an upgrade, it cannot run an install, or it cannot run an uninstall. On some configurations, this can lead to errors and failures, but on others you can see the upgrade process being completed faster, ultra fast, than a normal one is, and in time you see the agent versions reverting back to the previous version as discoveries keep running in the background. I can say that I have seen this behavior in SCOM 2019 for a few times, and it's possible that you can see this in other versions as well. Although we have talked about some issues, Unix and Linux monitoring is usually flawless if you configure management server and agent according to the guidelines. If you are into SCOM management pack authoring, you can start building custom classes, monitors, and rules as we do in Windows monitoring. By starting to create classes in SCOM for Linux and Unix servers, it would be easier for you to assign monitors or rules for a group of servers like database servers, application servers, or etc., which can help you in creating detailed distributed applications using health model, view, and alerts, assigning much more easily, as you do in the Windows monitoring part. If you have never considered using SCOM for monitoring your Linux environment, I would advise doing that. I think Kevin has a very detailed page about how to build Linux monitoring in SCOM. You can check, configure, and start using it for a small group and extend it in time. It's so simple when you have one management server in a resource pool. Only get a bit tricky when you think of high availability and put more servers in the resource pool due to certificate requirements, but it's still pretty easy. So I'm just passing my words to Bruce for an announcement.
Thank you. Yes. Before we get into this, just to say thank you, Ali. If you have any questions on anything that Ali's shown, or of course on anything to do with the Linux agent, please stick it in the chat or the Q&A while we go through a few bits and pieces before we get to Q&A at the end. So firstly, sorry for my audio issues. It's related to this slide, which is something that's happening tomorrow. Squared Up's Squapcast podcast /webinar is back tomorrow at 3 p.m. GMT. where we'll be live from Microsoft Ignite, which is where I am, which is why I'm in a hotel room, and you can see Chicago in the background, because that's where I am right now. So if you're interested and you want to hear sort of digest of the keynote and see what's going on at Microsoft Ignite, do join us tomorrow at app.livestorm.co/squared up/squadcast. If you could click on for me, Ali. I think I had 2 more slides, but I can't quite remember.
Now it's time for me. Yeah, I'll be happy to answer any questions regarding these topics as I've mentioned, and it might be the right time to talk about TopCore now. I believe most of the community is aware of TopCore, but for those who don't know, TopCore is an IT consultancy company based in the Netherlands with team members spread across several countries and delivering consultancy services to customers worldwide, which is led by Bob Cornelissen, or SCOM Bob as we all know. So we have a specialization in Microsoft monitoring and management tooling and are well known for our SCOM services. Aside from what we do all kinds of data center and cloud infrastructure as well. Some of our main SCOM related services are listed here. We do SCOM health checks to view and confirm the current state of your SCOM environment and provide you a detailed report including issues and suggestions. We have different levels of SCOM training, as you can see on the right, from operator to admin, admin to specialist, and of course, our community efforts like SCOM-a-thon and coffee break sessions. We do SCOM implementations, migrations, upgrades, and we can help you extend your monitoring and dashboarding capabilities. And we have a knowledge partnership and maintenance as a service to help you keep your monitoring environment running and healthy. On the right, you can see a list of our current and future trainings. SCOM operator and admin trainings are available for the last few years. We are the first one to announce and present a SCOM MI training as well. Since SCOM MI has been out only for 1 year and evolving, we update our trainings as well while we are working closely with Microsoft during its evolution. Lately, we have packed some parts of 2 trainings, admin and advanced design, to build architecting SCOM, where current admins feel they would be much more interested in designing and managing large environments. Lastly, SCOM console authoring was built for admins who want to start building their own management packs, use templates, and create distributed applications using SCOM console, which can be a good start point for more advanced MP authoring in the future. On the right, you can see the list of our future trainings, of which SCOM Unix Linux monitoring is one of them. Please reach out us to let us know if you want to have any special topics you want us to include in this training. We will just include those and try to mention a bit in those parts. Now, we are currently working on upgrade migration workshop and hopefully start offering it in the coming months, and hopefully Linux monitoring will be the next one. Finally, we have plans to build a dashboarding training, which will include a few options, including squared up as well, but still it's in the design phase. So for those who are interested in any service, training, and subject related to these topics, feel free to contact us using our email or the website for the details. So it's your turn.
Now it's back to me. Before we go on to this slide, though, just to say, Microsoft no longer offer their own SCOM product training. So the training that TopCore and team provide is very, very important to complement all the stuff we do here at SCOM-a-thon. So Squared Up, that's the company that I work for, is a company that makes 2 products. I'm sure a bunch of you are going to be familiar with these tools already. We have Dashboard Server on the left-hand side, which is designed around pain points that SCOM administrators face. You don't have to look at the horrible SCOM console for day-to-day things, such as managing alerts, things like scheduled maintenance mode. And on the right-hand side, we have our new cloud product, which is designed to be a single pane of glass, sitting on top of all of your tools, including SCOM, so on-prem and cloud. And that's us in 2 seconds. I'm sure you know this already. One more click for me, please. And I think we're getting to the end. So just to say that everything you've seen today is going to be recorded and will be available at scomathon.com. If there's anything you'd like for us to cover, please do let me know. Usually these sort of coffee breaks appear when either inspiration strikes me or someone approaches me with a topic suggestion, or a speaker approaches me. So if there is something you want to ask for us to cover, please do let me know. And all of our back catalogue of hits essentially is at scomathon.com. If you click on for me one time, I think we're on to Q&A, but I can't remember. Yes, we are on to Q&A. Right. So let's see if there are any questions in the chat quickly. And if you have any you haven't asked, please do ask them now. So there is a question from Art around issues upgrading the OS of a Linux box. We get WSMan connection failed due to access is denied. Solution we've used is to delete SCOM and rediscover the device. Any thoughts on that one, Ali?
Well, I have seen boxes being upgraded, but the package on the box should be for the new version as well. I mean, that's the point where we have talked about the distribution agnostic management packs and the packets. That can be helpful when you are going from 8 to, for example, Red Hat 8 to 9, 9 to 10, because those packets are mainly the same, but from 7 to 8, that might be different because they have different packets. You have to be careful. But I have seen some upgrades of operating system could still work with the existing agents.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. Hopefully that's helpful. Let's see if there's any other questions. I can see some folk typing. So I'll give you a minute to complete your questions before we wrap up here.
But I should also mention that there are really different agents from moving SCOM 2012 to upper versions. So if you have such an agent on a server, you should completely uninstall the old one and install the new one, because it's completely a new one.
That's a good point. That is a good point. Yeah, and the version agnostic Linux agent management pack is a big game changer as far as admin overhead is concerned. So I recommend that. One final question, it looks like. Where could be the SCOM Linux log files found, similar to Operations Manager log in Windows?
They are based on the Linux box, but they should be configured not to fill up the space. As far as I can remember, there's a very detailed page regarding to Linux agent monitoring on Learn Microsoft site. We can take a look at it and inform you about that as well if you cannot find the place.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Makes sense. Next question is from Sridhar. WinRM basic functionality is disabled in our company by our security team. We were using local accounts on Linux servers, but because of this, we can no longer use it. I know the other option is to use Kerberos source, which means the Linux server needs to be added to AD domain. Is there any alternative to this apart from adding the server to the domain and using Kerberos auth? Good question. My guess is the answer is no.
I think Kerberos is the only option on that part.
Yeah, so sadly, no is the answer.
So, yeah, because there are only two. One side, the local accounts, and the other side is Kerberos authentication, which was introduced in SCOM 2019.
I know there are, aside from the Microsoft Linux MPs, there are third-party MPs that may have alternatives, but I don't know. Let's see if there's any more questions. I can see a couple of people typing. I'll give it just another minute. Nope, looks like no one is typing now. All right. So all that's left to do is to say thank you very much to everyone out there who's watching this today, whether you're watching it live or recorded. And thank you very much, Ali, for joining us and sharing your knowledge and wisdom in Linux. And if you do have a question that occurs afterwards, we're all on social, so you can get us on social media, on LinkedIn and the like. So until next time, or tomorrow's Squatcast episode, thank you very much and see you soon. Goodbye all.
See you all. Bye.
See you. Bye, everybody.